投資嘅康健護理行業咧係有潛力對抗通脹、抵禦市場波動嘅。唔少科研創新發展咧都係受到疫情帶動添。咁喺整個康健護理行業入邊嘅各個板塊，我哋揾到乜嘢吸引嘅潛在投資機會呢？ Stephen, investing in healthcare equities has the potential to protect our wealth against inflation and the market volatility. Actually, post-COVID innovation also emerged. May you highlight a few interesting investment opportunities in healthcare subsectors?
Sure. Let me start, Miranda, if I could, with biopharmaceutical companies. We continue to look in that space at certain disease states where we've always looked, things like cancer, oncology, things like orphan and rare diseases. But as your question frames, there is a concern now coming out of COVID that we have elevated risks in diseases like diabetes, Alzheimer's, cardiovascular diseases. So we are allocating more capital to certain of those markets where we found these research studies that support that we're seeing elevated levels of disease there and appropriately balance the portfolio for those investments. Maybe secondly, I'd talk a little bit about the med tech and the tools companies. This has really been a kind of a topical one because of the need to redeploy capital. These companies have generated exceptionally strong profits over the last 3 years, in large part due to their exposure to COVID testing, as well as bioprocessing required to make vaccines and such. Those companies have redeployed that capital, and they've put it into new research projects that maybe hadn't been funded before. They're putting it into capital expenditures as well as targeted acquisitions. And we think that sector holds great promise, certain names there, to see incremental profitability over the next 3 to 5 years as those investments reach fruition. Thirdly, maybe lastly, the healthcare services sector. We continue to have a very positive outlook for a subset of those names, the wholesalers, specifically the pharmaceutical distributors. We see very well positioned going forward, not just due to increased profits from potential inflation, but also increased demand, prescription demand akin to what we talked about in cardiovascular disease and CNS. Lastly, our exposure to the healthcare providers, pretty limited, but we do focus on the healthcare insurers as a reasonable place for upside long term. These companies made excess profits due to lower utilization during the pandemic, but going forward, we think they have good prospects as the population continues to age. For those companies that are exposed to things like Medicare programs, we see great promise for that on a go-forward basis.
因應個疫情咧，唔少板塊都多咗好多嘅投資機會嘅。Stephen 講到啦，首先睇好生物製藥公司，佢哋發現個疫情係大大推動個產品需求，尤其是心血管相關疾病啦、老人痴呆、二型糖尿病等等，仲有中樞系統神經相關疾病。研究表明，同未感染 Covid 嘅患者相比咧，曾經患過 Covid 嘅患者發病以至係診斷都增加咗，即係有急切嘅醫療需求要去應對。另外咧 ，Stephen 都不嬲好睇好一啲做腫瘤研究啦、罕見病研究嘅生物製藥公司。而醫療保健設備公司方面咧，佢都睇到唔錯嘅投資機會喎。例如係做診斷啦、做工具嘅公司、進行 Covid 測試嘅公司。其中有啲公司咧係過去幾年甚至產生咗咧數以10億美元計嘅增量收入。佢哋已經可以重新部署呢啲資本，例如將啲超額現金流咧用喺資本支出啊、投資喺新嘅產品線嗰度。另外咧，佢都睇好供應鏈公司，好似經營直接分銷嘅公司啦，例如係藥品嘅批發商，受惠於藥品需求嘅潛在加價同銷售增長。佢都預計咧醫療保險公司嘅長期表現都會好喎。喺疫情期間，由於少咗人做手術啊、睇醫生，保險公司已經能夠由當中獲得一啲回報，同埋增加咗資本。